Hi, welcome to our web consulting's video blog about how to develop a pay-per-click measurement framework, which will allow you to effectively put value or measure the value of the channel, and then also allow you to optimize it, reducing costs for certain type of conversions that you identify. So we're going to organize this video blog into kind of 4 or 5 chapters. The first one is how to identify pay-per-click goals with either your client or your own business, how to set up and assign values to each pay-per-click goal in Google Analytics, and how to then import them into Adwords so you have much more detailed reporting. Then I'll briefly show you some examples on how a dashboard can be created to determine the overall value of PPC traffic. So then you can finally begin to optimize the pay-per-click campaign in that channel, because you know the full value of it, not just in product purchases, but also soft conversions, as I'm going to describe in the next couple minutes. Great. Oh, and briefly, optimization. We're really going to talk about this chapter step in a separate video blog, so please go ahead and subscribe to the channel or save it or come back, as we'll be only covering the first 4 in today's webinar, just to keep it a little bit more manageable and not too long. So here's a typical buying or sales funnel that probably a lot of you are familiar with. People might be aware of your business. They might then do research on your site, product comparison with other sites, finally before making a purchase or a purchase on your site. So it's important to measure the value of all these type of actions within the channel. Obviously, a product purchase is going to be higher, but if it's a non-bound visit, if people are clicking around on your site, they're maybe downloading a catalog or phoning your business, that should be tracked as some type of value as well. Excuse me. So the first step is once you've identified all those different types of conversions, which interchangeably we'll use the term goals, because in Google Analytics you set goals based on when a certain action happens, a certain conversion. So once the conversion goals have been identified and the tracking implemented, which I'll talk about a little bit later, you'll be able to determine the paid search's value down to individual ad groups and keywords. But again, first, identify a purchase action. So a sales inquiry is worth maybe 1,000 to your business or your clients, while maybe a contact us is earlier in the sales cycle, but it's about awareness and it still has some value. While PDF downloads and phone calls, those are more engaged type to visitors, which probably are somewhere a value between someone doing a product purchase or sales inquiry to just maybe contacting, giving you a call. But again, this is for you to determine the goals and the values, because this is how we're going to then measure the paid medium's value to your business or your clients. So here's some detailed reports that'll show once your goals are set up in Google Analytics and then imported into Google Adwords. And I'm going to briefly click over and show you how to do that. So in Google Analytics, under the goals and in the admin interface, under the goals tab, you can set up, for an example, the sales inquiry. So you saw earlier, that's almost like a product purchase. That someone, for this particular example, is they're inquiring about a particular product, and I might give that a very high value of 1,000, while maybe contact us or PDF downloads, you saw that had much more lower values. And again, a sales inquiry, for my specific example, it was based on a page view, but a lot of the awareness goals, like non-bounce visits, might be based on either visit duration or pages visit. So as soon as maybe someone's on the site for over a minute, that has a value of maybe, like, let's say 100 or 200, and you would want to track that. So that's totally up to you. If you want more research on how to set up goals, look at the Google Analytics help forum. But this is the first step on when you implement a measurement framework for pay-per-click, what you want to do. Once you set these up and your Google AdWords account is linked to your Google Analytics account, you'll have a little message under the Tools and Analysis tabs in your AdWords account that says you have new conversions available for import from Google Analytics. So you just click this button. There's one other page that comes up. It basically shows you the goals that you've already set up in Google Analytics, and then you just say okay, you accept that message, and then AdWords now has your goals set up and tracking in it as well. So that will then allow you, where those reports both in AdWords, as this lower one shows, you'll be able to start per ad group, and if we clicked into each individual ad group, down to the keyword level, what's the value of that keyword or ad group to your business. In Google Analytics also, for example, this report is the goals overview report with paid search traffic segment applied. And here, this one that we're showing is engagement. So again, that was more at the top of the sales funnel. So people that aren't bouncing, that are spending a certain time at the site, we might have gave them a value of 100. And then we're tracking, again, how many conversions and the value to our business of that goal, which is really important. So then the next step is really to create a paid search dashboard that you can sets up you to optimize later on to do tests against. So this monthly dashboard, this is a sample. You would list your goals that you set up in Google Analytics first, and then import it into Google AdWords. And these are the arbitrary values. So the total values, if I had 10 sales inquiries earlier in this example that I gave a value of 100 to each, the total value would be 10,000. Well, is that more or less than last month? That's this trend. So if we're making changes to the pay-per-click campaign, we're optimizing it. Hopefully these trends are at least even or flat, but hopefully they're going up, and we're seeing a positive change month over month. The left side is kind of a grouping, more of an aggregate. So if you have multiple campaigns in your pay-per-click account, in your AdWords account, this will show which ones are contributing the most value. And again, this might not be dollar amount because it's also accumulation of the PDF downloads, phone calls. So in this example, this bar graph is very closely tied to the total value here, except it breaks it down by campaign. So another view is down here. This is conversion by action. So just the number of conversions that we're getting for each goal. Sales inquiry, contact us, PDF, and phone call is measured here. And this just gives you another view that there might be changes. You might do campaign changes. You might do A/B testing on your site. So it's a different view where it makes it easier to identify if you see a huge drop in, let's say, phone calls, but then the total value staying the same. And here is just the kind of almost the most common Google Analytics or Google AdWords metrics that people are looking at a lot, which probably are not of the greatest value. But still important to look at is impressions and click-through rate, because you want to keep an eye on those as you optimize your pay-per-click campaigns and try to increase these goal conversions. And the financial cost per acquisitions, that's the bottom line. That's how many basically actions or acquisitions goals divided by the cost for that month that you spent on your pay-per-click campaign. So again, it's important to be moving these in the upward direction and seeing positive month over month changes. So if the value, for an example, let's take a different one now, phone calls. Let's say we received 50 phone calls and valued them at 100 each. That's 50,000 here. Well, what did we the value of the phone call goal conversion, that paid per click brought in was 5,000 for last month. But if we spent, I can't do the math right now, but if we spent, let's say, $5,000, then this number would be a 1 here. So, probably we spent $500 on the last pay-per-click campaign, or somewhere in that range, and why this value is 30. So it gives you some kind of perspective if your campaign is profitable, and if so, by how much. And again, monitoring changes is important. So that kind of brings us to the end of the bulk of today's video blog. Next blog, I'll talk about how to then kind of measure the channel's value to paid search traffic once you've implemented this measurement framework. And more importantly, the focus of the next video blog will be about optimization. So I'm just going to use my site here to describe, once you have the measurement in place, the measurement framework, what PPC campaigns can you change within AdWords. So the keyword bids, the ad groups, the structure, the match types. Maybe you want to change it from broad-based to exact, max cost per click. That's one thing that you'll test. And then also, once users get to your site, if this goal conversion of people subscribing to my blogs is worth a lot, 500. Making changes. Let's test it. Let's make changes. We have a hypothesis that if we put it up here, it's going to increase conversions, get more subscriptions. Then let's go ahead and test that. So again, please subscribe to our Web's Consulting's video blog, or come back periodically to view the next video blog, where we really talk about the optimization process once you have this measurement framework in place. Again, the goals, conversions have been identified, they've been set up in Google Analytics and Google AdWords, and you built a dashboard, a custom dashboard tracking these. Then, only then, can we begin to optimize that campaign. Again, both in the AdWords level, and then also on the site level. Great. If you have any questions or comments, throw them in the comments boxes below. Otherwise, have a great day.